Hi, guys. It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, March 26th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 23:34 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from all over the world. So, apparently, the US sent more B-1 nuclear capable bombers to Russia overnight last night. And if you watched my update earlier today, you would have known this because I was sharing the flight paths of several aerial refuelers that went up into the Norwegian Sea. And I said in my video that those refuelers usually refuel the B-1s. And so, sure enough, Sputnik news coming from Russia confirms that a MiG 31 was sent to intercept two B 1 bombers on Tuesday from the United States over the Barents Sea, the Russian Defense Ministry said. As the Russian jet approached, the U.S. bombers adjusted the course of their flight, moved away, and then turned away from the border, the statement read. On March 26, Russian airspace control systems detected over the Barents Sea a group air target approaching Russia's state border. To identify an air target and prevent violation of Russia's state border, a MiG 31 fighter from the Air Defense Forces on duty was raised in the air. The Russian fighter crew identified the aerial target as a pair of U.S. Air Force B-1 strategic bombers. So this is the second time in the last 3 days that we sent B-1s to the Barents Sea towards Russia's border. Okay. And also last night, there were several U.S. reconnaissance planes patrolling the Kola Peninsula. Okay. So something's going on here. The U.S. may be trying to make a statement by sending these bombers to Russia's border right where they have their northern fleet. Okay, these bombers flew right to where Russia has their northern fleet, which is where they have most of their nuclear armed submarines, guys. That would be like Russia sending their bombers to Kings Bay, Georgia, or to the Puget Sound in Washington, and then turning around at the last minute just a few miles away. Okay, this is extremely provocative what the US has done over the last few days, and Russia's never done anything like that before. They usually fly to Alaska, but we don't have, any nuclear triad bases in Alaska. Okay, we're literally flying nuclear capable bombers to one of Russia's most important bases for their nuclear triad. Okay, so this is extremely provocative. And I want to just show you guys the flight paths of these aerial refuelers that took off from Luleå in northern Sweden, and they went north, straight north, and then they turned around, flew over the Norwegian Sea, and landed in the UK. So these were the three aerial refuelers that were escorting those bombers. Okay, it's possible they were loaded with, ordnance. We don't know. And then here were some reconnaissance assets operated by NATO. We had a Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling the northern part of Finland, right near where Russia has their northern fleet base. And then we also had Jake 17, a US RC 135 rivet joint, going back and forth right near Murmansk. Okay. So the US is definitely on high alert, and Russian sources are claiming that they assassinated a Polish general in a precision strike in Ukraine over the weekend. They claim that he was in an underground facility in Chasiv Yar. According to Russian sources, the operational command of the Polish armed forces confirmed the death of Brigadier General Adam Marchak, but are covering up the fact that he was killed in Ukraine. The official NATO narrative claims General Marchak suddenly died of natural causes. On the same day as General Marchak died, the Russian army confirmed it targeted decision-making centers in Ukraine. A group strike was carried out by high precision, long range sea and land based weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles against decision making centers, as well as places of deployment of foreign mercenaries, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced. Wow. So this is crazy, guys. Absolutely insane. Russia may have assassinated this top Polish general, who's also a top NATO general. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day. Breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithNYPrepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. A Polish official says NATO is considering shooting down Russian missiles that approach its borders. Various concepts are being analyzed within NATO, including for such missiles to be shot down when they are very close to the NATO border, he added. And such a proposal would have to be approved by the Ukrainian side. Wow. So NATO is considering changing their policy, and Poland is saying that they didn't shoot down that missile over the weekend that flew into their airspace, number one, because they said it was a risk to civilians in Poland, and number two, they knew that it was going to turn around and go back into Ukraine, and number three, NATO policy apparently forbade them from shooting it down, but now it looks like NATO's going to change that policy and start shooting down missiles that are getting close to their borders. I don't know why it takes 4 missiles flying into Poland and several drones crashing into Romania for them to finally do something. And really, it makes you wonder, if Russia invaded the Baltics, would NATO even respond? Would they do something, or would they sit around and twiddle their thumbs for weeks and then decide to give Lithuania helmets and body armor? You know, I'm not that confident in NATO, guys. Okay. The way that they're handling everything with these missiles going into Poland is just an absolute disgrace. Okay. They're letting these missiles fly into Poland. And actually, there was an incident last year in December where a missile flew into Poland for 40 kilometers. Okay. It flew for 3 minutes in Polish airspace. Absolutely disgusting. Okay. And the Russian KGB director Bortnikov said today that while the concert hall attack in Moscow was conducted by ISIS using radical Islamists, they were facilitated by the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, as well as the United States and the UK, with him further stating that the attack will require retaliatory action against Ukraine. And I reported on that in my last update. So this is getting crazy, guys. Okay, Russia has already made up their mind who's responsible. Yes, the Islamists were responsible, but they're saying that Ukraine planned it and armed the Islamists and trained them. And Russia is claiming that the concert hall terrorists were trained in Istanbul for 2 months. All 4 terrorists were trained in one of the camps in Turkey. The preparation for 2 months took place in Istanbul. Russian sources are claiming the recruitment of assassins for the terrorist attack in Moscow's Crocus City Hall concert venue was organized through the Embassy of Ukraine in Tajikistan. According to a military expert, ex-Special Services officer, retired Colonel Badir Rakhimov, a few weeks before the terrorist attack, information appeared on the website of the Ukrainian diplomatic mission about inviting foreigners to join the so-called International Legion. The message was later removed. The ambassador of the Ukrainian embassy in Dushanbe is the ex-head of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine, and the consulate itself was looking for perpetrators a few weeks before the terror attack, publishing an order to hire assassins openly on the page of the Embassy of Ukraine in Tajikistan, he said, adding that it provided all the contacts a potential terrorist could only write or call. Rakhimov constantly monitors such messages on the website of the Ukrainian embassy. Since 2014, Ukrainian diplomats have posted similar announcements several times only to have them removed. The work on recruiting foreigners was led by Ambassador Extraordinaire of Ukraine Valery Evdokimov, former head of the Foreign Intelligence Service under Zelensky. So Russian sources are claiming that the Ukrainian embassy in Tajikistan was supposedly recruiting these extremists, okay? That's what the Russian side is claiming, okay? So this is very, very serious, guys. And we have Nikolai Patrushev, Putin's right-hand man, besides Medvedev, and the current head of Russia's National Security Council, saying earlier today that many elements indicate that Ukraine is behind the terror attack in the Crocus City Hall. Okay? So you see where this is going, guys? It's all about blaming Ukraine. And anti-Putin Russian rebels are still shelling parts of Russia for the 15th day in a row. And I wish I could play some videos for you, but unfortunately I cannot because of YouTube guidelines. But just take my word for it. I've seen more videos coming out of Belgorod today, and the shelling is just continuing. I mean, it sounds like it's a city somewhere on the front lines in Ukraine. The shelling is just crazy. Okay, so Putin is losing his patience with the situation in Belgorod with these Russian rebels causing a problem for him. And obviously, the Western support, and now Western countries saying that they're going to send troops possibly into Ukraine to prevent Ukraine from being taken over. And we have Finland and Sweden joining NATO now. So Putin is definitely furious. Okay, he's not showing it, but he's furious. And I think we're going to see him do something very crazy very soon. He's going to escalate in a very serious way. And I want to just update you guys on this bridge in Baltimore that collapsed. So apparently the vessel went dead and there was no steering power and no electronics, said an officer aboard the ship on Tuesday. One of the engines coughed and then stopped. The smell of burnt fuel was everywhere in the engine room and it was pitch black. The ship didn't have time to drop anchors to stop drifting, the officer said. And a safety probe into the Baltimore bridge collapse will include whether contaminated fuel played a role in the giant container ship losing power and crashing into the bridge. Authorities announced that they are calling off the search and rescue mission for survivors of the bridge collapse. After many hours of searching in the cold and dark water, only 2 people were found, one being in critical condition, but officials are now stating that all other 6 missing people are presumed dead, and most of those people were construction workers who were actually having a break, I guess. They were taking a meal break, and it has been confirmed that the only people on the bridge when it collapsed was a pothole repair crew. A total of 8 workers were reportedly on a meal break when the cargo ship crashed into the bridge. The 8 workers plunged off the 180-foot bridge into the frigid water. 2 of the 8 workers were rescued. One was hospitalized and one refused treatment. And the Israeli Air Force was responsible for overnight strikes last night in eastern Syria, which reportedly killed several Iranian linked operatives. The strikes in the Deir Azor and Al Bukamal area targeted assets belonging to Iran's Unit 4000, the Special Operations Division of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Intelligence Organization, and the Special Operations Unit of the IRGC's Quds Force in Syria, known as Unit 18840, according to Israeli defense sources. Yesterday, the Shin Bet announced that it had foiled attempts by those two Iranian units to smuggle advanced weapons to the West Bank. The strikes overnight, defense sources say, were a response to the smuggling attempts and targeted assets related to the Iranian plot. So Iran tried to smuggle advanced weapons into the West Bank for the Palestinians to use against Israelis, and Israel retaliated by striking the locations of these IRGC Black Ops units in eastern Syria. And Argentinian President Javier Milei plans to fire 70,000 government workers in the coming months. This is being reported by Bloomberg. And look what we have going on over here, guys. Here we have a NASA mapping plane flying along the coast of Taiwan. And my guess is it's mapping the terrain here along the Taiwan coast because they're planning for defense of the island in the event that China attacks, okay? And if China tries to do amphibious landings here, they need to have this area mapped out really well, okay? So this is very concerning that they're doing this, guys. It means that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan could be imminent, okay? And here we have an official report that was released by DHS on the Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. And I find it very interesting that DHS was involved and that they had to declassify this report. It's pretty suspicious. And here we have some video footage showing a bunch of cargo ships and container ships that are waiting outside of Baltimore in a huge line because of this bridge that collapsed. They can't get into the harbors in Baltimore. So there's now hundreds and hundreds of cargo and container ships that are being held up until they either reroute or fix the bridge so they can get through that area. But I don't think they're going to be able to remove all that debris that quickly. Look at all these ships, guys, lining up. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Guys, the world is getting crazier by the day. We're on the verge of World War III. The U.S. is drowning in trillions of dollars in debt. Inflation is at an all-time high, and there's no end in sight. So you need to prepare your finances for the future with precious metals. Precious metals are a great way to protect your hard-earned savings and retirement against inflation and the uncertainty of the stock market. Also, precious metals are good to have for the purposes of preparedness, to be able to barter with people for essential supplies if the grid goes down. Every prepper should have at least a small amount of silver coins. The company I trust for my precious metals is Midas Gold Group. Text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information on precious metals. Midas Gold Group is 100% veteran owned and supports veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project. Midas Gold Group will work with you to convert part of your retirement savings into gold or to set up a gold IRA. And unlike many precious metals dealers, Midas Gold Group offers precious metals in small denominations, which is great for preparedness, so you have something tangible to use for bartering when the grid goes down. Precious metals have continuously risen in price over the past 100 years and are considered a safe investment. So text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information and to get started today.